It takes energy. It takes courage. It takes commitment. A hunger to live life at another level. A life of true fulfillment. Welcome to the Extraordinary Living Podcast, where Jackie Senatori interviews leading experts from around the world, extracting their wisdom, giving you the tools, tips, and tricks on how to go from ordinary to extraordinary. Get ready to start living a healthier and more empowered life. Here she is, your host, Jackie Senatori.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Extraordinary Living Podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Senatori. Today I have a super special guest, relationship expert in understanding men and women, Alison Armstrong. Alison Armstrong's exploration of human behavior began in 1991 with her decision to study men, to find out how it was bringing out the worst in them and hopefully learn how to bring out the best. Her success in understanding men naturally led to studying women's behavior and making vital connections between the two. Armstrong distinguishes human instincts that compel both men and women to behave in ways that contradict and undermine our own purposes, goals, values, needs, and relationships. She offers partnership-based alternatives, giving millions of people access to more fulfilling lives, loving relationships, stronger families, and productive organizations. Armstrong is a sought-after speaker and a thought leader amongst people with a desire to live empowered lives. Alison's philosophy and approach is frequently referred to and taught by other authors, speakers, business consultants, and therapists. You can find out more information about Alison's work at understandmen.com. It's such an honor to have her join me here today, so let's just jump right in and learn on how to understand men. Hi, Alison. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure. It's such an honor to have you on the show. I've been studying your work for quite some time now, but more diving in deep this past month and getting all your little perspective shifts and light bulb moments. And I'm so excited to share with listeners on how we can shift little things in our behavior and in our words on how to communicate better in relationships. So with that being said, I just want to give people a little bit of background just so they can get to know you on where you're from and how did you come about to study men in particular and what brought you to want to learn more about men?
I've always loved men and boys. I think I had my first boyfriend in the second grade. But by the time I was in my late teens, I was so hurt and angry and disappointed, and whatever it was they wanted, I didn't feel like I was it. And that got even worse. I got married just before I was 24. And, over the next 7 years was just convinced. I just was convinced I'm not the kind of woman that men really fall in love with and stay in love with. And in my book, The Queen's Code, that part of the character of Kimberly's definitely me. And then I was lucky enough to be involved in the world of transformation since I was 19 and to observe an interaction between a friend of mine where she was asking, why is it that men are wonderful in the beginning and they listen to you talk about your pets and your family as if they care, and they take you to romantic places and give you romantic gifts, and then after a few weeks or a few months turn into sports watching, pizza eating, beer belching couch slugs. And she actually said that, and that actually happened. And he called her a frog farmer, and it explained, right, that some women turn frogs into princes, and that she was turning princes into frogs. And I saw myself. I saw my, not just like that I kind of did it, but oh my gosh, I'm a pro at that. And that where it came from was being convinced that men were con artists. Mm-hmm. And that if I poked them hard enough, soon enough, they would reveal themselves, the crummy side of them, the selfish side of them, the short, mean, not available, run for the hills side of them. They would do it before I fell in love with them. That's what I wanted to have happen. Like, show me your Show me that side before I'm enrolled in your wonderfulness. And it turns out that it wasn't just show me that side. I was causing that side. I was antagonizing that side. I was bringing out that side in them. I was literally bringing out the worst in them. And I could do it in about 10 days. And I was proud of it because I thought, the wonderful was just a con. And the idea that maybe that side, yeah, it's there. But maybe it's like kicking a dog and being surprised when it bites you. Or when it runs away or it bites you and then runs away. Well, what if you just never kicked a dog? And I was actually talking to, I don't know we call each other playmates because girlfriend and boyfriend seems really weird at our age. And just, what the hell is that? But I was telling him, when the world is remade in my vision, one of the things that'll happen is when someone says men are dogs, it'll be like, oh yeah. Like, yes, men are dogs. They're always happy to see you. Right. They want to bring you stuff. If you're excited about what they bring you, they'll just keep bringing it and bringing it and bringing it. And they work for affection and praise. They just go through the praise and they will just love you unconditionally. Yeah, men are dogs. Hooray, men are dogs. Yeah.
The best reframe. That what a great reframe.
Yeah. And it was funny because he said, Dan's response was, so how do you feel about cats? Like, I'm a dog person.
Me too.
That persnickety, I'll take it when I want it. You do as I say. Yeah, that's a good one. So, yeah, so that's how it started. And it'll be 30 years in February since I started studying men and trying to find out how was I bringing out the worst in them and how might I bring out the best in them. And I'm still in awe of them. They really are God's gift to women. And if we could just understand why and how, and then how differently they function than we do, so we could communicate more clearly, right? And we could say the things, hopefully we'll get to go there because I know you want to know the most important things to do. And one of the most important things to do is to set boundaries. And we're terrified of setting boundaries.
A few things on that. It's true. It's like we get what we look for. If we have that expectation, it's like, I want to see your 15-second reel of everything wrong with you so I cannot even start and get into this. Mm-hmm. Instead of what you said, looking at the dog differently and being like, why do we all, even people that don't want to admit it to themselves, like we all want relationships. We all want fulfillment. Yes, we want different things, but I really do believe it's our intimate relationships that we get the most fulfillment out of, the most laughter out of, the most connection out of. So I loved that reframe of the dogs. What I love about your work especially is that we have these languages we speak, and what's innate to me and my instinct is actually the wrong thing. And then what his instinct is the wrong thing. And we're both trying to talk and we both want the same outcome and to get along and have fulfillment. And it's just, we both are missing the road. And what you do really nicely is you're like, just frame it like this. And all of a sudden he opens up and it's like, yes, let's share that with people. So the first question is what is a common mistake women make about men, or what do men ultimately want? Yeah,
we actually have I think it's 2 or 3 hours of what do men need most from women. But a short version of it would be they want to know where they stand, right? So they want to know, am I winning? Am I enough for you? Am I doing what needs to be done? Am I providing what you need provided? Where do I stand with you? And they're that way, by the way, not just in romantic relationships. Like if you have any sons, if a son knows that he wins with his mom, right? That where he stands with her, she admires him. There's things about him that she respects, that she knows she's not. There's things she needs from him that she's clear about and really appreciates. Then you have these young men or younger men who they're generous, right? They're just generous and giving and will be able to say, no, I can't do that, which boundaries are hot, right? So for a man to say no, I'm always teaching men to say no to women. Like most women know that we are our greatest enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can protect me from my own baloney, then you're hot, right? If you can just say, no, we're not going to go there. That doesn't serve anybody. Oh, you're going to save me from myself. And so for a man to just clearly say, no, I can't do that. No, I won't do that. Like typically women will ask men, why can't you just listen to me? And so they try to just listen to us. And what women don't know is that there's a hormone that both men and women have, and it's called aromatase, and it converts testosterone to estrogen. So it's really beneficial for women when we decide, okay, I've been kicking ass all day. I've been getting the job done. I have a date in an hour. I need to become a girl.
Right.
Turn myself back into a girl. And we literally can decide that, and this hormone kicks in and starts converting testosterone to estrogen, and all these other connective capacities will show up, and ways of being open that are really important to men, and receptive, really, really important to be with men. Boom, it starts happening biologically. Well, the reverse happens, right? So if you think of men as protectors and as providers, and they are problem solvers, and they want to save us from anything that's upsetting us or making us unhappy, they'll go to war against women's magazines because they hurt women's self-confidence. Right. They get really pissed at that stuff. And if we know that, then that's the framing that you're talking about. Instead of just listen to me, which sounds to them like, okay, you're going to handcuff me. I need to not be myself. I need to not be a problem solver. I need to not be a protector. I need to not save you. I need to not be a hunter. I need to not search for the solution here. You're going to handcuff me to the couch, and then you're going to give me a barrage of details that I don't know what to do with, and I'm not allowed to anyway, but I'm going to be tested on remembering them. So you just set me up to lose, and now aromatase is biologically emasculating. It's turning my testosterone into estrogen, and that fidgeting you see is not that I don't care. The fidgeting you see is I am being weakened moment by moment. I can feel the energy draining from my body. I can feel the strength lessening. I am at the end of this conversation be so much less of myself than I was at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Where if all you do is say, I am so full of everything I've heard and seen and felt today, and I really just need to cough it out of me, barf it out of me, and you would help me so much by just pretend you're holding a big old trash can, and maybe you're pulling my hair back for me so I can vomit it out, and you don't need to remember any of it, and you don't need to solve any of it. I just have to get it out, and then I can have space for you and for life around here, and to care and to be intimate, and I'll be me again. Would you do that for me? And then you got to give them transition time, like, especially if they haven't done it before. Like, I'm willing to try, right? Men who are used to doing it, they're like, okay, bring it on. Just bring it on, girl. And then they get appreciated for it. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. I'm me again. How was your day? And so anything that works, that's what's so beautiful about them. They just care that it works. And logical would be way better. So presenting the logic of this helps. That's what our Understanding Women course does for men. This is why women do what they do. This is why they need what they need. But they'll even do something illogical if it works. But they got to know it works. And how they know it works is by the result. After we're done barfing all that out, are we available? Are we affectionate? Are we intimate? The proof is in the pudding. So it's a whole other thing about women. We make ourselves unbelievable to men. Instead of, we need to make ourselves believable, and we tend to make ourselves unbelievable. So I'll stop there. But yeah, that's if you know you've got like a, if we want to stick with the metaphor of dogs, you've got an Alaskan Husky wants to pull this sled across the itinerary in Iditarod wants to win the race, wants to be out in front, wants to just the joy of being who he is. Just let me be me, and I'll take care of you all day long.
And it's so wonderful when you're in that space and can honor men that way, because they love to show up. They love to be helpful. I have 2 sons. They're 5 and 8. And did I do a good job, Mommy? Did I do a good job? They just want to be told they did a good job, even if it's something small. I got it. You said to do this and I got it. I asked my partner, he's been watching me kind of study in the videos. And I said, if you had 2 things that you could ask her that irritate you or you want to fix about women, what would it be? And one of them you already got right. I had it on my 3rd page of questions, but it's coming up already. He's like, why do they just have to talk and talk? Can't we just tell me what's wrong? Let's find a solution and we're done with it within 15 minutes. Why do we need to talk about it in all different kinds of directions and it going on and on? Just tell me what it is. I'll fix it and it'll be done. We can move on with the night.
I can answer that question. Why
Sure.
we gotta do that?
Sure.
Well, it's the why. We think that we've got to figure out why something happened in the first place, why they didn't take the trash out, why they loaded the dishwasher the wrong way, why they didn't open the door, why they wouldn't just listen to us, why did they have that gruff voice. We think we got to figure out why, so that if we cure the why, right? Like if you respected me more, you'd take out the trash without me asking. If you loved me more, you'd be willing to be my boyfriend now, right? Instead of saying, no, I'm not ready for that, right? If we think if we know the why, then we can get what we need. We can cure it. And for them, the why something happened is so much less important than the solution. So what did you want to have happen? Let's do that instead next time. They just want to know, what did you need to be different? What did you need to not happen? What did you need to happen? Quit analyzing why I didn't already do that naturally. I'm not you, which is what they always want to say. I'm not you. Why I didn't do it? Because I'm not you. Right. But just tell me what you need. Describe it to me. Ask the partner question. Is there anything you need from me to give me what I'm asking for? They just want to cut through what to them feels like, if you imagine a racehorse in the gate, right at the race, and he's ready to go, he's suited up, he's ready to go, and the gate keeps not opening, and it's not opening, and it's not opening. Just open the gate. It's like, and so when we're like, no, I got to tell you everything about it so I feel understood, so then I know you'll be able to figure this out on your own next time. No. We just are holding the gate, and it has them give up. It has them they roll their eyes. They feel like they can't win. As frustrated as I was with men, not understanding how they worked, they're as frustrated with us. They're just a little more forgiving, actually a lot more forgiving than we are. There's so much they need from us, and they're not trying to not need it. So they just hang in there longer to try to make things work with us, and where we give up sooner. To heck with you.
You said what they need from us. What do they need from us? I had another question in there, but that was too juicy not to pick. I was like, ooh, what do they need from us?
Well, there's us women in general, and then there's if you're their woman, right? And their woman would be their romantic woman, their mother, potentially their sister. Definitely. All those 3 would qualify. And the first thing they need is attention. They need us to be paying attention to them. They need us to be noticing them. And honestly, they need it so badly that they will, do the proverbial ponytail in the inkwell just to get attention from us. That angry attention is better than no attention. That fiery coming at them is better than being ignored. Our attention literally transmits life force to them. Our attention gives them energy. And so that's the first thing they need. They need attention. And so they'll go for upset and criticism and just get a rise out of you, just piss you off, they'll go for that if they can't get any. And that's often the response to men being ignored. They'll do something negative to get attention. And we think that's who they are. No, that's because we didn't provide attention. Just like, you're here, you're worth noticing. I'm going to have eye contact with you and maybe smile because you're another human being on the planet and you're worth acknowledging. We're afraid to do that. We're afraid they'll take it as an invitation for more, which is where boundaries come in again. So it starts with attention. And then if it's positive attention, right? If it's admiration, if it's appreciation, if it's telling them directly what we need. And can I just tell you something?
Sure.
So the man I've been seeing for, I don't know how long we've been seeing each other and how close we are, not really related to each other. But I was talking to him about having seen a picture of him years ago and how happy he was and without any sadness behind his eyes. And that I want to see that man. I want to meet that man. And he had this really great response. He said, well, I have things I'm sad about, and you get sad about Greg, right? Because my husband died 1.5 years ago. And I can't heal you, and you can't heal me, but I have this really, really wonderful woman in my life, and she's very direct, and she tells me exactly what she needs. And I mean, just thinking about it, that's so hot. Oh, what a great compliment, right? And so when we tell them how to win with us, this is what I need, and they're like, I can do that, life is a dream for them.
With that, if it's something like you want something from him, like being a little bit more romantic, or you want a little more attention, or like, I would really love him to like make a decision or plan a date night or bring flowers unexpectedly. When you tell them, it sort of takes that away. Because it's like, just tell me what you want. You want flowers? I'll bring you flowers tomorrow. But for us, it takes away that little bit of, I wanted you to want to. How can you satisfy kind of both? Yes, telling him this is what I want, this is what I need, and then having him show up and validating him, and then also have a little bit of the, I wanted you to want to do something romantic or.
Yeah. Well, we collapse the what and the how. Okay. They already want to do something romantic. They already want to give you what you need. They already want to make you happy. But they don't know how. They're already trying to do that. And they're not getting any positive reaction from us because how they're doing it isn't registering with us. So if you think that them doing that is a reflection of wanting to do that, then you're going to be out of whack to begin with. They already want to, and they've been failing at it. And then that has them be reticent and willing to spend less energy. So they need us to tell them what it would look like, but it can't be a prescription. It has to be like, we even have to ask, how much detail do you want? Like, one of the things that makes me really happy are fresh cut flowers. Is that enough for you to go on, or do you want more detail? And he may be, I got it. And then you got to let him go for it, right? Like, he brings home a bunch of your least favorite flowers, or maybe flowers you would hate, right? But he came back with flowers. So you got to get excited about the flowers. Oh my gosh, you totally went for it, and you brought me flowers. This is amazing. And take care of the dang flowers, right? And then you could may I give you some information? These are my favorite flowers, right? And you might text it, or you might write it down, or you might send him a picture that he could show a florist, or he could take it around the grocery store and go, oh, that's one of those. So they just need more information. But if you understand that the impulse is already there, like the impulse to be romantic is already there, how many things it takes to qualify as romantic for Valentine's Day kills it for them. They can't win, right? Somewhat more details, somewhat less, just, tell me this bit and I'll go with it. One of the first things that had me fall in love with Dan is he's like, let me guess. one of two men I think I've ever met in talking to hundreds and hundreds of men who wants to guess. Guessing is not a winning proposition for most people, but he just loves to play. So he's like, oh, let me guess. If we take the guessing out of it, because what guessing does is it has them be afraid they're going to waste their time, waste their energy, waste their resources, and they never get them back. If it doesn't put the smile on our face, it's gone forever. So if you want men to try, right? If you want them to try, if you want them to surprise, if you want them to guess, you have to give them so much appreciation for their willingness to do any of those things. Like they get 100 points just for that they tried. And the detail of that you happen to hate these flowers and you think they smell disgusting, you just share that with your best friend. Not with them. That's not the first thing that comes out of your mouth is ew, right? The first thing that comes out of your mouth is, oh my gosh, you did it. You're amazing. So it's part of the conflict between men and women, because if a man is winning with a woman, his own sense of perception is to keep looking for what's beautiful about her, what he loves about her, what he likes about her, what's special about her. Where we're built the opposite. We're what's wrong, what's missing, what should they be doing, what did they miss, right? We're naturally so, it's not even so much more critical than they are. They have to be made to be critical. They judge. They're made to judge, like good enough, not good enough. Are we going to live or going to die? But to be a critical person of somebody else, that comes from wounds, right? That comes from being hurt. But we are, we get that voice in our head that sure will survive if we're perfect. And so we're always looking for what's not perfect, what's wrong, what isn't it? And that stands out for us so much. And that's why, we look in the mirror and we see flaws and we buy makeup that says flawless on it. And they look at us and Dan said the first time he saw me, all I saw were sparkles.
That's because you sparkle though.
but he literally saw that. He said, I looked over and I just saw sparkles. In fact, could that be her? Right. But they're just so available for that. Right. And then our criticism really hurts them. And we don't know how vulnerable they are. We think they're emotionally unavailable, and that is so not true. They're so sensitive and therefore protective. And okay, I'm gonna stop myself.
I could ask
just keep going and going and going and going.
I could ask you questions all day of many directions with that. One of them is that I noticed that you said that comes from wounds when a man is critical. Is there something you can do if you're a woman in that dynamic to not undo, but start creating something different to help him? I don't want to say not be critical, but start trusting or healing, or just in the late 30s and 40s and you have kids and different exes and spouses and you have more triggers and more hot spots. So if a man is critical, is there something a woman could do differently to sort of, I don't want to say undo that, but soothe that to get him to maybe not respond from that wound did place?
I think there's three different things. One is, and I've been soapboxing on this for, I think, 3 years now, and I've ramped up instead of wound down. That's why we encourage women to do our Understanding Women workshop before they do Understanding Men, right? So we have both of them online. And the first thing I would say is don't put up with it. Like, as a woman, what's true in all cases is true in this case. Whatever we let somebody do, we teach them to do. So each of us, whether a man or woman, if we're not a model for how to treat me, then all they have is their past. And so we have to be a model of, okay, you can tell me what you need if you need something to start happening or stop happening, but you don't get to say it like that. Own that what you need, have the courage to come out and tell me, because it's counterinstinctual, and answer my questions about it. Don't blow me off, and I'll do my best to give you what I need. but you don't get to take that snarky tone. You don't get to act like I'm stupid that I'm not already doing it. You don't get to, why are you so scattered? I appear scattered because I'm female. And if you want soft skin, you're going to get the appearance of scattered. So you want soft skin? Don't criticize the scattered. Estrogen does that. Makes me soft and it makes me appear scattered. I'm not actually scattered. I just have diffuse awareness. I'm getting about 1 million bits of information every minute that you're not. So that's where I would start is first, don't let anyone be critical of you. Just don't. Just be, no, I don't participate in that. No, we're not going to go there. No, you can't talk to me like that. So whether you call it criticism or ridicule or whatever you want to do, just we have to model, you can't interact with me that way, and I know you're better than that. So it has to start there. And then the next would be, both men and women have incredible instincts that say, don't ask what somebody needs and don't tell them what you need. So this is why people complain instead. It's hot in here. Instead of, could you make it cooler for me? Right? You put things in these generalities as a complaint instead of owning, I need it to be cooler in here. And so for someone to speak up and say what they need, it needs to feel safe. And that means that we have to discipline our own reactions. That if somebody says they need something that to us is ridiculous, like, are you insane? That you don't ever let that come out of your mouth or your face. Mm-hmm. You take a beat and go, okay, I'm sure you have a good reason for that. Could you help me to understand better what that would provide for you? Because I want to give you what you need and it'll help me to know the difference it'll make, which totally connects with who they are. They just want to know if it'll make a difference. So being safe for them to express themselves in a more exposed way, which is criticism is, I call it throwing a spear from behind a shield, right? Like it's just, you're being chicken, put the shield down, tell me what you need and we can interact, which are all victories of human spirit. And so for us to stop that defensive critical response, okay, so we're not doing that criticism thing, just tell me what you need. Oh, and what would that look like? Okay, well, this is what I would need to give that to you. So you start creating safety, that it keeps turning out to speak up. And when it keeps turning out to speak up, and these are like two train tracks. Boundary, no criticism. Yes, just tell me what you need. Boundary, tell me. Boundary, tell me. And safe to tell me. Boundary, no, you don't get to criticize. It's not safe to criticize me. It's safe to tell me what you need. And then the people bounce in between these two things and finally, oh, I just keep saying what I need. I get to be a monorail and I just get to zip along and get where I want to get to just by keep saying what I need, and appreciating their effort. So those two things are so important. And as women, our instincts are to be pleasing. And so to be criticized is to tell me I'm failing, which we have the reaction consciously or unconsciously, I'm going to die, right? I'm failing. You're not going to save me. You're just let the tiger eat me. And so to set a boundary at that moment to be potentially even more displeasing, I've just displeased you and now I'm telling you, you can't talk to me like that. We think it's just going to blow up, right? Well, if it blows up, you don't want to be part of that guy's healing process. Right. If he gets bigger, worse, meaner at that point, I would just say, stop, do not pass go, do not collect $200. This man is not your project.
Right.
He's not, no, if he doesn't respond to a boundary with shit, howdy, I'm sorry, right? Like, oh, you're so right. Because in general, you put a boundary without an electric fence, you just say, no, you can't talk to me like that. That earns respect. That to them is, wow, you just became so much more attractive. What do I need to do? How do I need to up my game? Boundaries they're sexy and they're safe and they create so much of what people want and need. shows up by setting limits, but they have to be real limits. Like you can't put up with criticism sometimes and not other times. It's got to be never.
Right. And sometimes it can be, oh, you're just overly sensitive. As I've been practicing post-divorce and learning what the 20s relationship was. And you had this beautiful thing on one of your lives that, we just want to get married and we want this house and we're not actually looking at the person that we're marrying because we're just trying to fulfill this fantasy. And then we realize the second after that one doesn't work out, or if it doesn't work out, we go into, okay, now I want to look at the person and who I'm actually with and do that vulnerable work that you just said. And so I have two questions. One is, how do you tell someone, you're a woman to a man or a man to a woman, the sensitive things of boundaries, like things that aren't really like necessarily nice or easy to say? I often put in the beginning of this relationship would text it the things that were harder. It's like, I didn't really like that, or, something just to get it out. And now it created that safe space that you talk about. But then also to get the feedback sometimes of when you do set a boundary, you're just being sensitive. And it's more, so I wanted to get to that scattered part when you maybe are being sensitive, because women can get sensitive and we can sometimes be touchy, or a comment can hurt that wasn't meant to hurt and the intent wasn't to hurt, but it still didn't land well.
First, I would say instead of texting, which texting is better than nothing, either do a voice text or a voice mail. Studies have shown that men process women's voices in the same part of the brain as music. So they, in many cases, are not sensitive to tone. Like if a woman says, okay, to any woman, she knows that woman said no. To a man, he hears okay. And so it's not a boundary. But when we're letting them know that something that didn't work for us, they are really sensitive to tone. In text, people infer tone. If they think you're mad, they're going to read it like you're mad. And so it's better to do those things with your voice. And like even start by saying you didn't do anything wrong and I need something to be different. That's really important. And it makes a difference for them. And they've told me that. When you said I didn't do anything wrong, then I could listen. Right? And just telling what we need them to do or not do and what it would look like to do or not do that. And even tell them where the clues are, right? Like I needed someone to ask me more questions, and men naturally don't ask questions because they don't like to be asked questions. So they observe, they respect privacy by not asking questions. And so someone, I gave them the clue, any question I ask you, I would welcome you asking me. Or even asking me what had me curious about that. Why did I ask that question? That would be a legitimate question to ask me. Oh, okay. So voice, just always good to use our voices. Written words have a bigger effect on women than on men. And so I encourage men to text. Text, I love you. Text, you're beautiful. Text, good morning, light of my life. Like, text that. We'll read it over and over and over and over and over again, like love letters. The second part about being sensitive is we can be hurt when no one has an intention to hurt us. Just like a man can be disrespected when we had no feeling of disrespect. We didn't intend to disrespect them. So learning to honor another person's reality, even when it doesn't make sense to you, is a huge step and skill in relationship. And it's something that makes things very safe. And people can take much bigger risks when they know I can just say, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. And that'll reset you. Or I'm so sorry I disrespected you. Thank you. Right. And it doesn't have to be a whole big blow up. But we are sensitive. And it's one of the things we teach in Understanding Women, that how sensitive a woman is depends upon where she's at in her menstrual cycle. Yeah, it's biological. Where hormones, testosterone in specific, provide shielding. And it has men be much less sensitive to criticism than we are. They have actually 5 layers of protection against criticism. And so our sensitivity is part of what goes with us. Look, you can't talk to me like you can, guys, right? If you want this sparkly, shiny, soft, loving, admiring, think you're an amazing person, you actually can't talk like that. So you get to pick. You don't get to talk like that. And then when I shut down, because that's how I'm built, then accuse me of being sensitive and want your accusation that I'm too sensitive result in you get the sparkly person back. No, you'll never get the sparkly person back by that. So it's another thing that I just wish I want for people to take more of a stand for themselves. And really sensitive people, like I know you mentioned intuition earlier before we started the recording, really sensitive people a lot of people tell them they're too sensitive and they cave to that instead of, yeah, I am. So are you going to respect that, or are we going to just not do this? Those are places we need to set boundaries. Like, you want to be in my life, you're going to respect that I'm sensitive. You don't get to bulldoze. So choose. And instead of we're adapting, we're trying to be less sensitive, we're trying to be less whatever ourself is, right? And if somebody can welcome and accept that you come with that, if I'm going to have this beautiful woman in my life, I'm going to have to be more conscientious about the tone I take when I'm frustrated. Okay, let me add it. And if someone's not willing to have respect for how you are and try to do better, then I would say don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't work for them. Don't have them as a client. Don't try to have a romantic relationship on top of that. And I tell men the same thing. I tell men and women the same thing. Before you ever meet in person, express a need. They're already there. You need to be home by a certain time, or you need to only spend a certain number of hours, or you need to do it after you coach your son's soccer game, or whatever it is, you need something. Then, and notice how they react to it. Do they attack the need because it's in the way of what they want? They will always do that. Don't even go. Don't show up, right?
We're done. Right.
We're done. You're just done. You're done, right? And, or do they stop and go, oh, okay, so I should take you someplace different then, right? If you need to be home by then. Okay, let me rework the plan. That is a huge sign of respect, that someone's willing to change their plan to accommodate what you need. Or even further, like, well, okay, so, wow, that's cool that you have your relationship with your son. Do you need time after the game to spend with him? Are you done at the end? Do you need to do later? Do we need to do a different day? Wow, right? Like this thing that's so important to me, right? She actually, I don't have to defend it. She just defended it. Right? That's amazing. Okay, well, since you need to be home by 9:30 because you're getting up early in the morning, let's just go someplace really close so that I can have the most amount of time with you before I have to let you go. Oh, well, that just had me fall in love, right?
One of the things I really want to ask you, I know we have a little window of time here. When you talked about intuition, so it kind of brought this to my mind. When a woman has a sense that something's off with a man, or maybe had a hard day, or he's just moody, or something that you said put him off, or just maybe even something deeper is going on, like you're not paying attention when you sometimes have kids and a lot of dynamics change, the attention can go away from him. So let's say there is something happening or there isn't, but a woman feels it and she wants to ask the man, what's wrong? Nothing. And maybe sometimes he doesn't even know yet what's wrong. Like he hasn't even processed it yet. How do they navigate this? Because I know even for myself, when I feel something's wrong, I feel everything. So it's like something's off. Let's just get it out so we can enjoy the evening. And my partner will be like, I don't know yet. I need 24 hours to think about it. And then I'll come back. To me, that drives me crazy because it's like, now we have to be in funky energy for 24 hours and we can't, that's mine. Even though I honor that, okay, let's wait 24 hours and decide, and it's usually a much more productive conversation. How can two partners both get what they need? Or if a woman feels like something's off, how can she ask and create a space where he would actually tell her if he knows or when he does figure it out? Tried to make a really big question as small as I can. As a woman in many different directions. Yes.
Well, I think when we can own that how they're being, we're taking personally, and that's the source of a lot of our offness, is this concern, did I do something wrong? Right? Is this about me? Are we okay? Mm-hmm. As much as we can own that, the better off we are. Like, honey, you don't seem available to connect with me, or we don't feel like we're in sync, and it's okay. I just need to know, is it me? Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. Believe them, right? Okay, it's not me. Do you need anything? Just let's just snuggle. Let's just watch TV. Let's just, very few men process by talking it out, and they don't understand why that works for us. And they'll do what they can, like where we started this conversation, to help us with that. But it's not natural for them. What's natural for them is to be private, to not expose themselves to something that could be used against them, to solve the problem in their own, to work their way through it until they're clear, not reveal how unclear they are. Like, they just want to take their time to get to their place about it. And I mean, the way I say it is, we really have to learn to hold our peak. Mm-hmm. And because if we keep poking, we're not going to get what we're really looking for. We're looking for connection. We're looking for intimacy. So if we can just connect on, okay, so there's things we can't talk about now because you're not clear about it, but we're good, right? Yeah, we're good.
Like, what if it is about like something that you said off-put them, or something that you did and they're kind of just disconnected?
They'll usually tell you the truth. Is it something I did? Yes, but I'm not ready to talk about it. Could be one of the answers. Okay. Whenever you're willing to tell me, I want to know. Because I don't ever want to cause this if I can help it. Thank you. There's a kind of dignity that we need to bring when we have this anxiety that makes us want to force people to cough it up.
Tell me what it is. Yeah.
Just tell me.
Solve it so we can go on. Right.
Yeah, but I haven't worked it out for myself yet. I don't know what it is about what you did that bothered me, right? A lot of times they're just trying to get over stuff, which they wish we were too. Does that help?
Yes, it's true. We do need to talk and to get over it. And not everybody, I'm just generalizing here, needs space to get over it and then come back. Whereas when he does come back, I'm like, I'm over it. I don't even remember. It's moved on. So it's such an interesting, you talked about on one of your lives that you actually schedule, I think you said one time, of like things that you talk about that you'd like to visit or do better, but then also like the win time too, of like, here's all the things that I really liked about you. I forget what you called it on the live.
A credit tour.
Yeah. Something that you said, here's all the great things like that you did this week, or like scheduling in time too.
Well, we recommend setting up a time to talk about anything that's important. And I teach it in the Queen's Code, asking for a time to talk and helping men understand what we need. When would be a good time to talk about? Or I'll say, can we put this on the list? I don't need to talk about it now, but can we put it on the list when we have space? Can we put a pin in this to talk about at another time? Just springing questions, or what we call issues, which is a terrible word to use with men ever, springing them on somebody, demanding to talk about it now, when they don't necessarily have all the capacities they would need to do that conversation well. Like, we often try to talk to people when they're not rested. It's never going to go well. Like, people who don't want to go to bed mad, I'm like, please go to bed mad. Just go to your separate corners, go to bed mad, wake up in the morning after a good night's sleep, and now you can solve it much more quickly because you're better people. or go for a walk, or so much of what men are trying to do is build their own capacities to respond better. And they taught me that. So it's something we can learn from them, that if they are not talking to us now, it's because they're protecting us from their inability to do it well now. They really are.
So
Trust them.
Do you think when women don't, I actually had to learn that I don't like to go to bed upset, but I will go do something myself, go watch a show, go do something, and then revisit it in the morning. Do you think if people press them and the things that they say, it's just not true? It's just coming from an unresourceful place, like you said? Or do you think?
I think we're going to get the worst version of it. We're going to get, if you press people, I would say you do not have the right to expect kindness.
Right.
You don't have the right to expect consideration and gentleness and putting it in the sweetest possible way. You press people, they're either going to withdraw more or they're going to fight back.
Right.
So stop pressing people.
Right.
But one of the things I've said so many times, men require a lot of space. And if you want them to communicate, especially about things that they feel vulnerable about or exposed or that are emotional, you got to give them a lot of space. You got to give them physical space, emotional space, mental space, and time space. Okay, when you're ready to talk about it, I'd love to hear that. It could be months before they're ready to talk about it. Are you willing to grant that much space?
Right.
We feel so entitled to know everything. And it doesn't work. No, by being safe, they will share. We have to earn it. We think we're owed honesty. It's not true. We are not owed it. We need to earn it. When they're honest, they don't pay, let alone for years.
Thank you so much. Before we go, I know you have to go. Just can you tell people just a little bit where to find you?
AlisonArmstrong.com. One L is better, but two L's will get you there. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for listening to the Extraordinary Living Podcast. For show notes for this episode and all past episodes, head over to JackieSenatori.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Until then, take care and be well.